Today on Executive Report, we're speaking to Briauna Wills, the founder and CEO of a nonprofit called Young Queens in Training. They're dedicated to the mentorship of school-age girls in Baltimore City. So hit that like button and subscribe and enjoy the show. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Executive Report. Today, we have Briauna Wills, one of my most favorite people, and we're going to tell you about the nonprofit that she's created to help young people in Baltimore. But before we get started, I'd like to read a quick bio. So Briauna Wills, a Baltimore City native and mother, began a career in human services after serving as an intern at the ACLU of Maryland. In 2018, after watching the physical attacks by female students on Baltimore City education professionals, she knew that she would have to become the change in her community that she desperately wanted to see. 4 short years later, Briauna is the CEO and founder of her own nonprofit mentorship program for female youth in urban communities called Young Queens in Training, Inc. Young Queens in Training provides supportive services such as life skills training and behavioral modification to female youth in crisis. So Briauna, welcome to Executive Reports.
Thank you so much for having me, Steve.
So I've known about your program for a while, and over the last few weeks, I've gotten to know you much better as a person. And I'm really curious. You're relatively young, so I hope that doesn't bother you. But how did this come about? I mean, how did you start a program like this, and how did you get a whole nonprofit formed and up and running? It couldn't have been easy.
No, it was not, and it's still not. However, I started Young Queens in Training because I became a mother to a little girl named Savannah, and I was actually pregnant and on bed rest, and I was watching the news and saw that there were a few attacks on staff at one of the local high schools that I was familiar with, and it really affected me. It made me super emotional, and I wanted to figure out how I could do something to engage with young women directly and provide them supportive services. So
Excellent.
Young Queens in Training.
So I'm curious, is this for any student? Is there certain ages that you work with specifically?
Yes. So we work with young women that are in Baltimore City and surrounding areas that are ages 8 through 18 years old, so school age.
Got it. And when you started this 4 years ago, you were in your early 20s. So there had to have been someone that helped you, maybe a mentor that you knew or someone that could guide you along this path. I mean, who was that?
So I've been fortunate enough to have met so many influential people in Baltimore City that support Young Queens in Training, but individuals that come to mind immediately, Angela Hall at the Franciscan Center.
Really?
She's super supportive of the program. I would look to her as a mentor. Danielle McCrae, Councilwoman Danielle McCrae.
Councilman McCrae, yeah.
Letitia Jones, she is a local boutique owner and entrepreneur. So all of these women, super influential.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously Young Queens in Training, it does have a focus on young women, I would imagine, right?
It does. So we do have, we call them brother partners or brother local community resources that are geared toward males and helping the young men in the community. But our program is specific for female youth.
Understood. So ages 8 to 14, I imagine not everyone starts in the program at 8 years old. You probably have, women that begin in that teenage realm. It has to be very different connecting with someone brand new into the program that's 14, 15, 16 years old versus someone that's 8. Do you find that to be more challenging?
I don't. We have a policy where we meet individuals where they are. So that includes age. We have a curricular that is really tailored to aid young women at all stages of development and behavioral modification tools and techniques that help us to be more relatable to all age brackets. So we don't discriminate.
Absolutely. Now, do these kids have similar stories, or are they all very different? I mean, there's so much diversity in schools, especially Baltimore City schools. So how do you connect to all of them?
Oh my goodness. So yes, the young ladies that we meet with are definitely diverse. When we first started the program, we had a population of 60% that were refugees from East and West Africa.
Really?
Yeah. So
Wow.
we also have young women that are currently in the foster care program. We get referrals from organizations like Children's Choice. So again, diverse in population, but all young women, all relatable in that sense that they're young women experiencing, the growing pains and in need of support and empowerment.
Yeah. So I imagine you help these kids get all the way through high school and then into college?
Yes, so we actually, this year, we have two seniors that went on, one that's a freshman at the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, and then one who is at our local Baltimore Community College in Essex. So we've been able to see two so far young women cross our college-bound or college readiness programming. So
Excellent. So walk me through the process, right? So I'm imagining this. You've got these kids coming in, and after school, I'm assuming there's after school programs that you do with them, right?
yes, so we specialize in home economics training, which is our life skills program. So we are working with young women exactly directly after school. We also host a summer program for the girls, and we also do a winter program. So we're meeting all year. Pretty much, yeah, taking over the year.
Are there any favorite activities that you like doing with them?
Yes, I like the programming that we just completed this summer where we were able to help young ladies who are interested in male-dominated career paths connect with local entrepreneurs. So that included carpentry.
Really?
They were able to connect with female football players, do some workouts. So when we're able to connect with like community resources and create community partnerships, those are the activities that I like to participate in the most.
Got it. So any fun stuff for the younger kids, crafts, painting, stuff like that?
So we have sewing. We do sewing. We teach them how to cook, how to bake. Also, we have different STEM activities that we do with the younger girls. Yeah.
And where do you do all that? I mean, baking, you need a kitchen and all that kind of stuff. So where do you do this stuff?
So we partner with local recreation centers, Baltimore City Recs and Parks, and we utilize their kitchenette areas, their arts and crafts rooms, and additional classrooms that they have available for our use.
Excellent. So again, you've been doing this for a while. So you've seen people enter the program at younger ages, go through the entire process, end up in college. There have to be some that really stand out in your mind, someone that really tugs at your heart and you say, yes, this was really successful. Can you give us some story and background about someone like that?
All of them.
All of them. You have no preferences, right?
No. In the last 4 years, we've worked with over 150 young ladies. And every single one of them with their own unique, diverse story, overcoming certain barriers, being the first in their families to accomplish certain goals. One of my seniors this year, if I had to choose like one of the most recent, going on to be the first in her family to graduate and live on a campus and experience campus life and live and be outside of Baltimore for the first time in her life. Like that is one of my that's one of the most compelling stories I think that I've worked with I've had so far.
So she's a freshman in college now.
She's a freshman in college now.
Living in a dorm.
Living in a dorm with her, well, it's not her own bedroom, but it's as close as she's had to her own bedroom. So yeah.
Now, do you stay in contact with them after they've graduated?
Absolutely. My phone doesn't stop ringing. Currently I have a young lady who's texting me while she's in class and I'm like, please, focus. We can talk when school's over.
Exactly.
So yes, we stay in contact. I have young ladies that have resettled to places like Kentucky and I have a young lady in Nebraska and they WhatsApp, they use Instagram, all of the methods.
So that's almost like an alumni type group that they have?
We're a sisterhood. Absolutely.
Excellent. Yeah. And they all support one another and love the group. That's amazing. So this is something that's going to transcend throughout their lives, and hopefully the organization will be around when they have kids and continue growing and moving forward.
If we're lucky.
If you're lucky. Well, speaking of that, if someone wants to help, how can people help the organization?
Oh, so we're currently hosting a call to action on November the 12th, and that information can be found on our social media pages, Young Queens in Training, at Young Queens in Training, on Instagram and Facebook. And what we're asking for is volunteers, board members, potential investors, any individual who is passionate about Baltimore City youth and wanting to provide any experience that they have, any support or resources that they may know of that may be resourceful for individuals who are experiencing low to no income environments.
Okay.
So any of those channels.
So you mentioned sewing and baking and other type of, craft type things. Do you need supplies for that kind of stuff? Or
Absolutely.
do you have to buy it?
Needles, yarn, fabric. I know there are a lot of women who are crafters. They have, random pieces of fabric. We take all those things when we're teaching them how to do quilts. Like this upcoming winter, we'll be showing them how to create personalized Christmas gifts for their families. So all of those things, needles, thread, paper, construction paper, glue, paint.
Okay, got it. So I kind of jumped right ahead into those things, and I noticed that you said people that are passionate about their community, and something that came up on my radar about a month ago is you were featured in Baltimore Magazine as a Baltimore game changer. So I imagine that you share that same passion for the Baltimore area, the communities, the city itself. And I'm curious, were you born and raised in Baltimore? Do you have heritage here?
Yes, absolutely. I am a Baltimore native. I was born at Johns Hopkins Hospital.
Really?
That's how Baltimore I am. And I'm a Baltimore native. I'm born and bred here. Had my child here. Bought my home here.
What are some of your favorite things about the community here?
I love how free-spirited Baltimore is. I love how historic Baltimore is. I love that the community in the most recent years has grown to really stand together and really support one another. And I love all of the different organizations that are geared toward providing resources for youth and making sure that there are things to keep these guys on track. Like our youth are the next generation. They are leading what Baltimore will look like. And I love that there are so many organizations that are passionate toward, leading them on the right path so that they can continue to become pillars of our community. Yeah.
So I'm assuming you've partnered with the schools in all of these things, right?
Absolutely. So we have a good relationship with Herring Run Recreation Center, which is connected to two schools, Vanguard Middle School as well as Furley Elementary School. We've been fortunate enough to just stay in Northwood Elementary School, and we're working in the recreation center there, Woodhome as well. So we're connected in Baltimore, Northeast Baltimore City schools.
Excellent. So doing a lot with the rec centers, do you ever envision having your own building to do these kinds of things in?
That is our goal. That is our hope for 2023. We really want to find a space that will help to encompass all of the things that we do with the girls and make our program even more accessible to different populations of youth, female youth.
Excellent. And so you said that's your goal for 2023. Is that something that you're looking for funding for now?
Absolutely. So yes, sir. We're going into our fundraising season, and those are the things that we're looking for in regards to raising capital, wanting to be able to provide the girls a space that's not only accessible but also a safe haven for them. those are the reasons.
Understood. So you mentioned safe haven, and that's something that on a national scale, I think Baltimore kind of gets a little bit of a bad rap for. I think our community and our city is often looked as being, not so safe. And of course, just like any city, there are parts that aren't safe. But I think in general, if you know where you are and how to walk and act in those places, it can be a safe place. So tell me a little bit about the safe haven. What's the idea of moving from rec centers, or do you still plan on using the rec centers after you have a location?
We plan on still using the rec centers after we have a location. Again, accessibility. A lot of kids still utilize rec centers. They have an amazing community in the recreation centers as far as being accessible to families and guardians. So we will want to keep our relationship with Parks and Recs the way that it is, but we will want a space of our own so that we can allow our girls to have a little bit more freedom to choose, I think, what it is that they want to do in regards to participation. Sometimes with Parks and Recs, because of certain hours that they're open, things of that nature, they're not always accessible. And we want to kind of get rid of those barriers that our girls see when wanting to reach out and wanting to connect with Recs.
Understood. So is there a lot of limitation that you have with the Parks and Recreation Centers?
We don't have a lot of limitation, but the idea is to have no limitation.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. All right, so people can look you up on Facebook. They can look you up on all of the social media channels. Do you have a website where people can donate and give?
Absolutely. So we have a website at www.youngqueensintraining.org.
Okay.
And you can go to our donate page. I'm sorry, and
just make a donation.
Yeah, make a donation there, or you can go through PayPal.
Absolutely. And I imagine a reoccurring donation would be most valuable, where someone can continue to fund and help.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For individuals that would want to continue to invest in the programming, but also that want to invest their time, wanting to connect with the programming and connect in provide those volunteer hours as well. I think that's going to be beneficial too.
So it's not necessarily just funding; it's manpower. So
Absolutely.
We'll call it
all
queen
hands
power.
on deck. Exactly.
Queen power. We
The
need queen power. Exactly. Excellent. And do they have to go through any kind of approval process? I imagine so.
Yes, absolutely. So we do a thorough background check. So you will have to consent to fingerprinting. But other than that, we. It's not as tedious as you would think.
Understood. And what about people that may have kids that they may want to have involved in this program? How would that happen?
So we have open enrollment that's upcoming. It'll be toward the end of November, and we are looking to enroll up to 100 young ladies this season.
Oh, really?
So, yes.
Wow.
So if you have a young lady that you know that you're interested in enrolling, you can use our website or any of our social media pages to get in contact. We first do a consultation so that we are sure that it's a good fit for the youth because we like to leave the choice up to that individual to decide whether or not she wants to participate in the programming. And if it's a good fit, we begin moving forward with our weekly group sessions.
Fantastic. So, well, everyone out there that's listening, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you share the video. Young Queens in Training is an amazing program. And Briauna, we really appreciate you being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really appreciative to be here.
Thank you so much.